gives you what you...
We're recording. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start again.
Thank you.
In my life, I read many spiritual traditions, teachings, and so on. And I often heard the phrase that life gives you what you need to learn to teach you something, and so on. I always discarded that as some either a new age crap or people tell that just to get rid of you, to give some meaning to it. I never believed in that things happen by meaning. I always see it as a random occurrence. Well, at least most of the things. But lately, I don't know, something just changed in me. And when something bad happened, I accept it on some level. I'm not happy because of it, but I accept it and see it as a, how to say, a test to remain calm, to not get not let it provoke something negative in me, but to remain in a good mood, calm, and so on. So I see it as a way to teach me to remain a human regardless of outer occurrences. I understood that intellectually before, but well, this is the first time it clicked somewhat to me that I actually live it, not just understand it on an intellectual level.
Right.
So
It actually is working for you.
yeah, but it changed quality of my life immensely.
Yeah. I actually think that's just the, I want to say the ability. It is an ability, but more just the doing of staying coherent and putting your focus in your heart space. It's amazing the difference because the level of feeling is different, right? It's not the feeling that we engage in, that we're taught, literally taught in this plane of existence that we live on, but it's a higher level. And we use the same word for the emotions because the words are all the same, peace and peace and peace, but it's two different kinds of peace. They're not the same, the same peace. So it definitely will change you as a person. That's awesome to hear that. I love that.
I want to add something, if I can,
Absolutely.
about Philip, because I've known Philip for quite a while.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
yeah. And Philip, I've seen such a change in you. I mean, there was nothing wrong with who you were, absolutely not. But it was more like a self-destruction, and now I see something so different. Really, it's wonderful to see this, so yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No, I really do. Yeah, and I feel it as well, and you always were a very intelligent and very spiritual person, but there was this like self-destruction. Can I say that? But it's just like, and I know it's not easy for you sometimes to change all those programs, but you do it so good. So, I just want to say well done, and it's great to see this. And of course, you're not finished yet.
I don't know.
Right, more school. The first day I went to kindergarten, I said, this is prison. The first day I went to school, I said, this is prison. And I always, education for me was always one of the most negative words there is. Sorry.
No, you're right. I totally agree with you on that one. And it's amazing once you start really realizing yourself. I mean, it's one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself is to realize your true nature. Anybody else? What are you sensing? What are you noticing? What have you noticed? Even from last week's.
Oh God.
Go right ahead. Yeah, please.
Well, I have a confession. last week when you started the meditations, when you began, I began to feel that my eyes were closed, and I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to sleep. But I think even before I finished that sentence, it was like I became unconscious. And I woke up at the moment it was time to say goodbye. And I said, and I said, oh, goodbye, thank you, thank you. And I was really awake then as well. I went immediately to sleep, off. And then I became immediately awake right at the end. Now, and I know that it wasn't a normal sleep. It was like somehow in my subconscious, this is what I feel anyway. Maybe it's not true, but it's like in my subconscious, I was taking all of it in. And I was registering this on another level. I don't know, those are just words, okay? I don't know how to put it, so I'm trying to just explain it how I know best. It was like I was, my subconscious was taken in, and I thought to myself, oh my God, I have to see the video. When the video comes out, I want to know what happened on a conscious level. So
and then I didn't post it.
I know. But I know that, that sleep wasn't just because, okay, it is late here. The time is late here, but I'm quite used to it because I don't finish work until 11 sometimes at night, and then I come home and have to chill out first. And so it's not unusual for me to stay up late. So that's not the reason. But to go to sleep, to actually be so totally unconscious at the moment you started and totally awake at the end, well, that says something to me. And also, I had the most deepest sleep. And also that night when I went to sleep, it was just a different kind of sleep. So I don't know what happened actually, but it's all good.
People saying stuff like that. I've heard it before with people, we'll do some work or do a meditation or do a visualization or whatever you want to call it. And literally they just like conk out. And sometimes it's levels of consciousness. Sometimes I really think your spirit knows better than your mind.
Exactly.
Right. So
exactly.
If your spirit's like, just sleep through this one and the benefits will be greater, because then you're not sitting there trying to process what we're doing.
Exactly. That's what, you explain it very good. I think that's what happened, that my conscious mind is like much smaller and it's already filled up. And
and maybe I literally think that when spirit, if you let your spirit do what it's going to do, it'll do it way better than any of us can do it. So sometimes I get conked out doing stuff, and sometimes it's in scary places, but it's like you'll get better gain if you just let spirit handle it. It gets implemented deeper. And I think with I shouldn't say I think, I know that with the engaging of the chakras and in the manner that we did is a different level than a lot of people are working at, because they're still looking at the typical chart. And what I'm understanding is that the operation of those energy centers are literally your fuel, right?
Yes.
Burn energy as fuel, those centers. And my understanding about not eating or however, if you engaged in those centers alone, it takes food as energy out of play almost.
Yes.
But we're so preoccupied and pre-programmed by and with food, right? So I say almost, but I think if you were really of the mind and had the wherewithal to totally focus into that, it's interesting how it'll literally start to change your physical structure.
Yeah. Well, yes, I believe this. I'm doing chakra healing sessions with people in groups. So, and I know, I know I can feel it, exactly what you're saying is how I feel.
Yeah.
But obviously, sometimes when you're busy with us and you're saying certain stuff, I mean, my mind comes into action and I can hear myself thinking, yeah, but I know that, and you know. Well, I think last week I had to get my mind out of the way.
Yeah.
And that's why I went to sleep, because, you know, it has always a, it thinks it understands everything, you know, but it's just on a certain level. It thinks it knows it. It thinks it knows everything, but it's just not true, you know. Of course not, you know. It's just that ego stuff getting in the way, and I just had enough of that.
Yeah, I'll throw this on top of that for you. If you could do that all the time and stay awake, and just let your spirit take control and walk, and then you're walking and knowing instead of like literally know that you know, right? It's stuff that you might not have any conscious idea of from the state of your brain. It's not something I learned. It's not something, but you know that you know.
Yeah.
When you can walk in that kind of a path, that's when you're really, I think it's more of a higher level of awakening.
Yes.
I just now turned on the comments. Somebody said, love the new shack. Hey, thanks. I feel like a high schooler again. Oh, good Lord. This was my hair all through high school, except a little bit longer and probably way more poofy. Way more poofy.
Oh, I like it like it is. It is very nice.
Thank you.
Well, I did say that at the beginning.
Oh,
I have one more question.
Yes.
I have one more question, and then I will give the floor to somebody else. I noticed today that my attitude, my comments in my head are things like, oh God, mere NPCs, non-playing characters, you know? And I want to stop judging.
Yeah.
I want to stop judging people, also judging myself. Although I'm doing less of that. But everybody has their place and their time to change. And if they don't change, it's up to them. And but I do get tired of non-playing characters, but I think some of that is my own judgment of it. So if I can just let it be and be happy within myself and be grateful for the people I can meet, you know, that are spiritually awake, then yeah.
I was going to say, beyond letting it be, there's actually work you can do around it. So literally understanding the idea that judgment and forgiveness go hand in hand. If you never judged anything, you would never have anything to forgive.
Okay, what's the difference between judging and observing? You can observe somebody, oh yeah, it's an NPC or whatever, blah, 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 you know, whatever.
It's your attitude.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to get rid of this attitude.
I would, I think it's also a process of thoughts. If I feel a person is evil, that is not judgment. But when my mind decide this person is evil, that is judgment. But when I feel it, that is direct knowledge. I can feel an evil intention, but then when I analyze it, it is a judgment.
Well, how do you stop analyzing them? Because the moment you feel that somebody's judging,
no,
you
can't.
mind's going to say also, you know,
You can.
Sorry, evil, sorry.
No, you can distinct yourself from the thought mechanism, but thoughts will go on. Do you want it or not?
I disagree. Can I disagree?
Sure.
I'm going to disagree. So it's a little bit of work, but the second you hear yourself judging anything, if you think it's on the level that you're, you know, it's going to cause an interaction, right? And if not with them, because they don't know you've judged them necessarily, definitely within yourself. It always causes some kind of thing to go awry. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself of judging. If you have issues that are ongoing, you've judged something somewhere that has kept that issue alive, right? If you're judging something about another person or the issue or the thing, however you want to look at it, that judgment right, is causing issues in your own system. If you forgive yourself of the judgment, it cancels it. It's an effective way of just canceling it. You could literally use the idea of a path of negation or recapitulation and go back through and find all the places you judged things in your life and forgive yourself of those judgments and watch what happens to you. It's the craziest thing. I was doing forgiveness and judgment work before I started doing life recapitulation, and it goes hand in hand. But once you see it and you recognize what judgment does, if you never judged, you'd never have to forgive. You would never have to forgive. And I would say to the idea that there's always thought. You will get to a place where there's not thought. And it's the recognizing that the thought, the mind, is giving you all this information in the subconscious. If you keep, and again, it's about that focus. If you keep your focus in your heart space and you keep your awareness on that, the thought goes away. Over time, right, it'll go away. There's little tricks you can do and play with yourself that you can make it go away that are just interesting. I just learned this one the other day. I don't need to agree with thoughts. No, you absolutely don't need to agree. I don't agree with any of my thoughts ever, because it's like making a contract.
I didn't talk from position like I'm obsessed, like that's obsessed thinking that goes in loop or thinking that I agree. But most thoughts are judgments.
Yeah.
And if I'm calm, if my attention isn't on anything specific, then I hear my mind. And my mind will judge things.
And then forgive yourself.
Yeah, I don't, well, I don't think that's me. So there's nothing to forgive. Because
I guarantee you, if you're judging the judgment, if you're judging where the judgment came from, and it's coming out of your brain, that subconscious link, right? The energetic link, it's like
yeah,
a giddy up.
There are my programs and all that, but I try not to be too harsh towards myself here, because most of those programs I didn't choose. They're installed in me.
But that's not the point.
Yeah,
the point
I agree.
is the program's running, and if you want to start wiggling out of the program, play it by its game, right? The game has rules. And if you play the game with it and say, okay, if I hear that judgment, I'm going to forgive that judgment, it'll start releasing that energy, and you'll find yourself yet again a whole different person.
It makes sense, actually. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That is like giving intention to our actions. I maybe had a bit too nihilistic approach to it.
And I just think, I mean, the same time that it's good work to do, if you could totally just keep your focus on the illumination inside of you, that would also take care of it. But most of us can't, because we hear the thought and we go running back and start participating. Right. So then you get thrown back into the game. But the more you, right, if I hear myself judge anything, and now it's funny because I don't hear myself do it so much, but when I hear other people judging, oh, I almost just can't take it. My husband was on a tirade this morning against everybody in our neighborhood. And I was just like, oh, buddy, good Lord. And instead of me forgiving myself for my judgments, I was forgiving him for his. It was weird. I was just like, oh, this is harsh. It's harsh. But I think doing the work, I mean, probably within 20 minutes of me, after I finally started going, okay, that's judgment, I'm just going to forgive it from wherever I can. Within 20 minutes, he had totally changed his attitude. So there's always stuff you can do.
So your thoughts and your energy can change the other person. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah. See,
And that's not a form of manipulation?
No, because I don't do it intentionally. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm residing in my peace, and the peace just kind of flows just because that's what it does. That
Oh, yeah.
energy moves,
Yeah, yeah.
and all of a sudden, people around me are like, "Oh, it's so peaceful here."
It's the interaction, it's your reaction which flows out, and it helps the other one to calm down.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Suze, I saw your microphone bounce on for a couple seconds. Did you want to jump in?
Hey guys.
Hey, Suze.
I'll mention one thing that kind of turned up for me. So remember back, I guess a month ago, whatever, again, we're wanting to stay in the heart space, stay focused there, keep attention there, and just be there all the time. And so, and remember I kept saying, I said, guys, it's funny. I can see, or not see it, but like sense it, or I don't even know what word to use. I could tell that thoughts and things coming into my brain or into my field, whatever, it was getting dropped in from the top back of my head, above my head. It was so weird. And I was like, what is that? That's not mine. And so that was the first thing. Then Jill says, take over that space. I didn't even get that far to take over that space. I just, after a little bit longer, it stopped. Because I was watching it, and then it just stopped. I have not had anything else coming in at that point now. So now it's more towards the front of my head, like where the pineal gland would be out in front. And now I'm going, holy crap, none of those are mine either. The projection, it's a projector screen. And I'm like, oh my God, those aren't me either. So now I'm sitting there going like, so the last few days, what I've been doing is I'm just watching. I'm just watching and seeing now that, I mean, from the minute I open my eyes, it's like when it's stuff getting thrown up. And so it's a fun game. I'm just sitting there. Okay. So sometimes it's like, okay, that was a thought from something past. You were trying to make a comparative. Then sometimes like, okay, that's a future thought. That's nothing. Sometimes, as Jane was saying, I'd get a judgment, and I'm like, okay, that's a judgment. What am I judging? I say, well, let me go check and see if it's even true. And then every single time I check, it's not even true. And I'm like, this is hilarious. And then finally, and it does take some energy to do that, because I did find, like, at the end of the day, I would have to take a break from it because I'd get kind of run out from it. So I would take a break, but then I would go back. But it's just amazing to me that it's like, none of this is me. And then even sometimes what I was calling spirit, when I would get a sense or a feel or an urging or something down more in my gut area, that's not me either. I was calling
that's the connection of your physical body.
Right.
Right. The energy coming from your gut and moving. And it's part of the physical you for sure. But,
right. But
yeah.
that's not what we're getting at. Like, that's not the original. That's just the interaction of. And I'm like, well, now that's interesting. And so I've just continued to let it keep deepening. I'm just marinating in it, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, just keep watching. I mean, that's the whole point of being conscious and just watching, right? Your thoughts, your feelings. Yeah. That's intense. Good job, you guys. This is pretty amazing.
Is it true that if you're not connected to yourself, as in connected to in your heart space, the thoughts that come in are from the system? You have to be very, very careful what thoughts come in, because they're not your own. Only if you're connected to yourself do you have the natural mind. That's what I feel, but maybe you can say something about this, or somebody
Yeah,
has?
I think Susan was just speaking to that actual idea. That's, I mean, everything is programmed.
Yeah.
Everything is part of the program, right? Anything that you think you know, anything that you can think, anything that you can think about, anything that you think is knowledge. Look at my lovely bookshelf back here. Any of that stuff is part of the program.
Yeah.
It's something that they wanted you to know, and they wanted you to know how to know it and how to feel it and how to talk about it. And it's why when we get into some of these deeper concepts, I literally, and I've heard a few of you even say it, I just don't have words. I don't know how to speak to this. I don't know how to write the words. The language just isn't suitable.
But these programs in this system, it's evil. It's only there to take your energy. So that's why I'm saying, if you get into your heart space, or actually your solar plexus center from your body, and you stay there, then you have the control over what you think. But unless you do that, anything can come in, it just bombards you, and it's mostly not good.
You know, good, I take away the words, right? Good or not good. It just is. It does.
Yeah.
It's only good because you chose to make it good. It's only not good because of your perception of not good, because what's not good to you, to me, might be like, whatever. Or it might even be good, right? My brother, my oldest brother and myself are really great at this. He'll see something when we came out of the same house, and he sees it this way and I see it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Understand.
Right. So you get rid of the words, and it's just a recording. It's just a thought. And right now they're literally trying to impale and implant us with ideas and things. And
yeah. And they're not good. Okay. The word good. Let
all
it go.
of them. Good, bad, yes, no, do, don't, can, should, shouldn't, will, won't, all of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
yes.
I mean, it's actually a form of judgment.
Oh yeah, that one again.
Yeah. If you get down to the nitty gritty of it, you know, people, they don't realize, and when we harshly judge ourselves, we don't even know we're judging ourselves because of those words. But it's how the system was set up.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you release that by keeping your focus.
Yeah.
And what you will find out, this is where, and I had said earlier, it's been a pretty weird week for me. The more I stay in that coherent space, like super consistently, there's another space. There's another place outside of that, right? And you're kind of climbing the ladder, so to speak.
Yes.
And accessing that point, I don't even know, I don't have words for it. Energy, it's not the same as the energy of the heart spirit. It doesn't provide the same assistance to my physical body that this spirit does, but it's still, I recognize it as a part of me.
It's universal information, I think.
I mean, in everything, right? There's universal information. This is beyond that.
Yes.
I think there's a space in between, right? There's this weird space that you can wedge yourself into, and once you get into that space, it just kind of leaves you sitting there spinning, because
yes,
I have no words. I don't know how to discuss, like, now what?
Do you mean this space you're talking about? It's a place with no thoughts, actually.
No, and you can look at this and just sit and watch it and be like, ugh.
Yes.
And I've heard other people that you look at it and you're like, yeah. And I'm like, no. So there's still a level of perception going on, which I find super interesting. I'm just like, oh, okay. You know, by what you think you can understand. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It makes no sense to me.
It's almost like you're going to the beginning of everything, or like we're going towards. That's what what you're describing is what I'm feeling.
It's another level. It's another level. Yeah.
I love this. Thank you.
Sue says 100% program. There's something much deeper than the mind or anything within our senses. What we really are has zero to do with thinking at all. It's not even a knowing. It's beyond that. But you have to get to the knowing to get to the beyond that. I mean, that's the whole stair-stepping thing, right?
Absolute.
If you don't think you know, you're probably not going to take the next step. So at some point you had to know, right? At some point you were thinking, and then you went, okay, I don't need to do this. And then you realize you don't even need to feel. The whole feeling thing throws you off. Thinking,
Yes.
feeling, right? The whole thing. And then you know, and you're like, oh, wow. And it takes care of the thinking part because now I just know and stuff just comes out of my mouth. And it's that part, right? You have to keep engaging in this place somehow. It's through that knowing, I think. But beyond the knowing, I think once you get into those other levels, I have no words. I have no idea. I do know it sits you on your butt in this place, because it's like, now what? You know, now what do you do? Now what do you? It's very bizarre, very, very bizarre to me.
But isn't the now what the mind coming back and trying to take over?
It's a
Because if you're in
different
that,
now what?
if
So
you're in
the
that
mind,
space,
the mind from this physical attribute, right? My knowing from my past. If you're in your physical brain, if you're in your past or your future, that's this, right? That's this form. If I'm in my heart space and I hear now what, because even my spirit from my heart's looking at this going, I want to look through those eyes. And somehow I position my awareness up in that, and I'm just like, holy cow. Totally different, totally different. And my spirit's like, now. And it's almost comical. It's like, it's not an ego thing. It's not from my brain, because it's nothing I could have ever known before. I couldn't sense it. I couldn't tell you this was here. I had no idea. But all of a sudden you're just there. And you're still here because this is still working. And I think
it
that,
feels like, sorry,
go ahead.
it feels like pure energy, which can be used for creation.
It's a different kind of energy than the way we understand energy from this. Yeah, from the way
Still, it
sure.
feels like a pure energy which can be used for creation.
Yeah. And even unpure energy can be, I mean, people create all the time in this plane without, right? Creation is actually just kind of a game. If you get into the rigmarole of doing it, it's just a fun game. But this is different. It's a different feeling of, and that's what I would call it too, is creation energy. But again, for a lack of words, I just don't have words.
Yeah, that's what that's what I feel anyway. But as you say, it's a place without words, because it's totally on a different level. But it is still a big force. That there is a big force there, a big force which can be used for whatever. I don't want to say whatever you want to use it for, because that sounds egotistical. I don't mean it like that. But it's just so beautiful, and it's so word pure. Okay, there is no word to describe it, but it is so beautiful and so strong, and so it's also neutral. It's very neutral. That's my experience anyway. So maybe I'm.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I would say it's beyond light. Look up the word light and define the word light, and then define the word illumination. And it's just an interesting thing, even from our own text and understanding, light versus illumination. Because what this is more illumination. It's a different level of what I guess we think light is, but we don't even have the definition of light right. So I don't know. Again, I just shake my head.
The programs from our mind are very limited, so we cannot have words. We do not have words for this, because the place from that energy is beyond our limitations.
If you sit in it long enough, the words will come. Something will come out of your mouth.
Well, something did, and it was the Alpha and the Omega. I don't even really know what alpha and omega is. It's just something that come out, alpha and omega.
Very nice. All right, anybody else? Thoughts, ideas, thoughts beyond thoughts. All right, if nobody has anything else to say, we are going to get coherent and just practice being there. We talked for a second about how your energy, it'll like spill over. So not doing it intentionally, just let your energy get as high as it can and just let it spill over. You're the cup that's going to run over. And in that running over, it'll affect everybody else in the group or anybody else who watches this video futuristically. You'll be able to jump in on this energy and then add your own to it, right? So we're just going to keep allowing the energy to get more and more and more. So I'm just going to kind of guide you into heart coherence, and then we'll let it go from there. And we'll, you might hear me talking intermittently here and there, but I'm going to try not to interject too much unless spirit really has something to say. But the goal is to just let yourself go. So once you get into your heart space, tell yourself, go more. Allow yourself just to float out into that space and allow yourself to start to realize what else is there. There's deeper than just inside this one space, right? You can keep going and going. All right, so what time are we at? We're at 3:39. So we'll do this for about 15 minutes and then I'll bring you back into the room and we'll have another little chat for a few minutes. So we'll start with a nice big inhale. Get yourself into a comfortable position. As you're inhaling, just bringing the oxygen and energy all the way up the system, all the way up your physical body, and then breathe in a little bit more. There's always more room in there than we give it credit for. And then as you're exhaling, when you're ready to exhale, just allowing the oxygen, the energy to move, let it swirl down around through your body, all the way out. Keep going, keep exhaling. And when you're ready to inhale again, the same thing. Inhale, nice and big, and then sit for a second, and then inhale a little bit more. And if you can, even a little bit more. And a nice, long, slow exhale. Relaxing your body, relaxing all the way down from the shoulders, through your arms, through your rib cage, your torso, past your hips, your knees, and down into your feet. And then your next inhale, the same thing. Big inhale in. And then a little bit more. And if you can, a little bit more. When you're ready to exhale, just nice and slow, bring your hands over your heart space. And as you're exhaling, direct your awareness into your heart. Direct your awareness into your heart. Let your physical body go. Relax your shoulders, relax your stomach, relax your feet. All of your awareness inside your heart space. Focus on that awareness. Recognize the space as a space of awareness. It is essential to this you, to this self. While we're here in this 3-minute, getting coherent in this 3 minutes, I want you to allow your eyes to disengage from your brain. Just notice what happens when you allow your eyes to disengage from your brain. Because you've done that, you've probably moved your awareness. So bring your awareness back to your heart space. Turning the eyes off, the physical eyes, so that you can see through the eyes of your heart. As you inhale and exhale, when you're ready, tell yourself, allow yourself to go more, to go further into this space, further into this awareness. Holding in, holding in, holding in. Instead of sensing with your body, sense through your awareness. Instead of sensing through your body, sense through your awareness. And now, if you can, allow your awareness to send sensory information back through the physical body. You're just noticing, curiously observing. Allowing your awareness to send sensory information back through the body. Stay aware in your awareness. Don't faint. Don't lose your consciousness. From this state, from this place of awareness, engage your physical body in breath. Inhale to a 4 count, exhale to a 4 count. You could do something similar to what you call box breathing. Inhale for a 4 count, hold it for 2 or 4, exhale for 4, hold it at the bottom for 2 or 4. From the state of your awareness, engage your body in breathing. And feel from this state the engagement of energy to your physical body. Become aware of the physical body and the energy moving through it, as well as being aware of your awareness at the same time. Now, adding to all of this, can you look through your system and see the chakras, all of the nadis, all of the places the energy flows in and out of the system, and see the energy production from this physical standpoint? And the place where it moves from the physical to the place where the energy swaps from physical energy to what you might call creation energy. In a minute, we're going to ask you to open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, become aware that the sensory involvement of seeing the physical world around you will alter your perception. It always does. It's fine. What we want you to do is notice if you can hold your awareness on your awareness, even with your physical eyes open. Allowing this higher level energy to operate the system instead of having to go searching for it. If you've got your eyes open, maybe drop something in the chat box so I know you're with me. And the energy, once your eyes are open, the energy will wax and wane. I don't know what to write, but I am here. I'm with you. Hey, thanks. I love you. It's hysterical. You made my heart happy. I don't know what to say. Oh, if you can, from this place, take a few minutes and actually find your feet. Don't stand up until you have your feet underneath you, but I want you to stand up, not asleep. Perfect. Stand up and try and take a little walk around. Get a drink of water, move your body a little bit, but keep your awareness on your awareness. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Stand up and walk around. And feel the energy of your awareness as it powers this suit. It was the original intention for that which you are to actually power this suit. And then the program took over. So we're taking control back. And if any of you are ready, you've got your feet, you've got your awareness on your awareness. Take a few seconds if you need to, but see if you can start talking. Bring it through the system. Bring it through the system. Here's what I have understood the difference is, or some of the difference possibly, in maintaining your awareness in your heart space, which is how we typically term it, versus maintaining your awareness on your awareness. Structurally, there's a difference in where you're putting your awareness, right? So you're intentionally moving your awareness to something. To keep your awareness on your awareness instead of just in your heart space is almost like you're retraining. It's like a step up the ladder, first of all, but it's like you're retraining your system in its mode of operation, in the way that it works, to the awareness. My heart space is one thing. It's full of energy. it changes when you get people there. It's steps, right? You get people into their heart and the changes can be drastic. At some point, you're going to be in the heart going, okay, now what? And it's not, right? Everybody always wants, it's not the ego thing. And it's not an ego thing. It's just, okay, now what? And this was the answer to the now what. Instead of putting your awareness in your heart, put your awareness on your awareness, and then learn how to walk around as that, not in that. Walk around as that. So the energy from the suit, or the energy to the suit, is now being supplied from the awareness. If you put your awareness from your awareness into a chakra, right? So it's the torsion field. You've got one spinning one direction and the other spinning the other direction. And it's that center point where that energy, I can't do it close together, comes together, right? And everything just comes undone. It's like floating in space. That energy is far stronger than when the atoms, the electrons, the neutrons, and all the stuff are working together the way they try and tell you in quantum physics. When these torsion fields, they have this center point, and when that energy comes together, everything comes apart. The electrons are now free range. They're on their own. That power is what powers this suit, and that comes from being able to hold your awareness on your awareness. And then feel it. There's a place where you almost have to separate from everything. I separate from the physical body and the feelings that it typically gives me, that I think I'm going by. Those are part of the program. Feel it in my head, I feel it in my heart, I feel it in my gut. I can get the whole thing operating. But it's a step closer to the gate. And so I've got that, and I know how it operates, and I can stay in it, I can function in it. Now all of a sudden I can shift it again, right? There's a place that opens up where you can walk in and shift it again, and that's exactly what we've just done. Turn off the sensory information. That whole detaching your eyes from your brain. Everything, when I do that, everything just stops. Everything, thought, feeling, like everything goes just silent and black. And I'm just like, oh no, just unplug. But it's the only way I can get my awareness so squarely on my awareness that I can allow it to start to generate the energy of the machine. And the energy of the machine is not the same as how we power it with food, or you power it through exercise, or right, the whole mitochondria idea. Jane said, keeping your awareness on your awareness and walk around as that. Yes, perfect. Yes. You can become anything you want in this energy. You tell me. I'm still too busy playing around in the energy instead of trying to make it do something for me. I'm just sitting here in it going, okay, this is.
But you have control. Oh, can I say something? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, go right ahead.
It's like I'm doing this meditation, what we're now doing, but you're explaining it beautifully. I'm doing this in the evenings when I'm at work, and literally you have contact with every single cell of your body. And you can, because every single cell is programmed in a certain way. I really do believe that you can change all the programs from this energy. That's what I meant by pure energy. I mean, it was just a word. But this energy,
yeah,
is the most it's most magical form of energy, and you can change anything. That's what it feels to me anyway when I'm in this energy now that we're in. You have the capacity to do the most amazing things.
And I think the
If
energy
you want,
does it
if
by
you want, you
itself.
know.
I think it does it by itself. Like you could add your intention to it.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Intention. That's what it would do. It's only you only need your intention. I mean,
And
this is like,
unfortunately, I think the intention brings you, it can suck you back. If you
depends.
just left it as pure awareness and let the energy do what it does, I'm guessing there is some place where you absolutely can incorporate it into the physical and the physicality and take control of it. I mean, there has
Because
to be.
energy becomes a wave, huh? It becomes a wave, and then the moment you
In this
focus on
plane
it,
of existence, this is not that.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
Yes,
where it can get, right? If you got rid of all of the thoughts and the ideas and the concepts of this plane and stood in that energy and were just like, wow,
but I don't mean it as a concept, really.
nope.
I can just feel it, and I know that it can. I mean, if you've got a manky body, then you want to change things in your body, you know, of course, because you want to live longer. You want to be able to, well, for me anyway, I want to be able to evolve and live in this body at this moment as long as possible.
This
So
is
why not use this energy because it's there and the
this is the
potential is there.
that you know that you know.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, and I don't even know how to say it rightly, but the less you speak to it, the stronger it gets.
Okay.
The more you try to put words to it, you have to come back into this thinking system.
No, I'm talking to you about it, but the intention is enough and it doesn't need words exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I will not say another word.
No, you can keep talking. I'm telling you what's coming out because that's what they're saying. Is be careful trying to put words to it. Just let it do what it does.
Okay, thank you.
Sue says, in early work with Christy, it was essential for me to swap out programs for better ones that freed up this construct energy for me to use towards opening to deeper truths. Yeah. Yeah, steps, right? Those are the steps we all seem to take. I'm sitting here like I'm hearing myself inside myself ask, like, how can you talk about it if you can't talk about it? Do you ever hear yourself asking questions inside yourself? And it's not like up here, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. He says a deeper truth doesn't need the construct energy. It's a different, yes, yeah, exactly. It is a different thing. But we still operate from these, right? From our, go ahead. I saw somebody's microphone flip on.
Well, that was mine, but I want to give somebody else a chance.
Anybody? Go ahead, Jane. Oh, there goes Philip. Either one of you, go ahead.
Oh, one thing that occurred to me when I get in a state of relaxation and peace, I usually, how to say, lose all motivation for anything. So if I had some goal at the beginning, I want to get more spiritual, I want to achieve something, I end in the state where I just am and I'm fine with it. Well, what I wanted to ask is that also some how to say trap of comfort where you escape the usual anxieties and so on, and so you are finally at peace. So you just want to rest and not do anything.
I think because we're still in this place, you have to do something. And it's just because if you do nothing, you're going to sit here and waste away, right? The physical body will waste away if you don't do something. The mind, the way the way we've been taught to understand it, And if you're working through, and this is where it's a total experiment. I have always said I have been the greatest experimenter of my own life, doing things and playing with ideas, even to my own detriment sometimes. And it has been to my own detriment more than once. But experiment with it and see where, as you start to fold into that awareness and it becomes more of who you are, if motivation is an issue, ask it about motivation. How do I motivate my physical self or my nature in this plane that we still live in? And as this is changing, because this is all changing even as we're talking, the information is coming through so fast and the streams of energy are changing so rapidly in this existence that my guess is we could have this same conversation tomorrow and you would have a totally different database to come from. Does that make any sense?
It does.
It's
Well,
roll with it.
yeah, I do. I just comment on it.
Yeah.
I just comment on it. I still know. Now I lost a bit of that. How to say? Deep relaxation because I started to think. Now I'm again more focused on what are my goals and so on. So I'm back at saddle, as they would say, but also I lost a bit of feeling I had. But that was always the main question to me. How do my feelings and my desires, goals are not aligned quite often. So it's like on one level I want something, but on the other way, or other hand, I'm not motivated for it. One could argue is my ego self want this, but my true being, my true I, does not care about it.
Yes, I have the same issue. And it's just, to me, it's just an understanding that, you know, possibly it's not something, although I think I want it because of who Christy Renee is. My higher self, my I self is like, and you end up in kind of this weird, I would assume at some point, Philip, I would assume that you will get to a place somewhere where you hit the thing and people say there's something specific you're supposed to be doing. I don't know. I've never found what that is. I've changed in this iteration. I've had more iterations of doing different things than I can even remember at this point.
What is iteration? I mean, it's an English word, I should know, but I don't understand iteration.
So like if like this iteration, this lifetime would be an iteration of my spirit. Right? I've had multiple iterations, multiple lifetimes, but in this particular iteration, I've
But
had
what is the word iteration? I don't understand the word.
that's how I would explain it.
Oh, sorry.
It's a period of time.
Oh, okay.
Repeating, yeah, iteration, repeating. There you go, Suze. So it's
Okay.
the repeating of the self or the repeating of yourself in lifetimes. Christopher says different version.
In this sense, it would be like periods of your life. For example, in this, a person have a period where he lives a normal life. Then he then he gets to the period where he starts to question everything and look for a path. Then the period where he walks a path. Then the period where he's disappointed to choose a new path and so on.
Yes.
Okay, chapters, a chapter.
A chapter is excellent.
Chapter, good word. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. And you'll find something that your spirit will click you into and say this. And you'll feel in alignment, right? We call it alignment. You feel like, oh, this is the thing I'm supposed to be doing. And then you do it for a period of time and then it changes again. And you're just like, okay, what now? What now? I'm in one of those right now. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I've been all kinds of stuff in this lifetime. I've had so many chapters that are, I mean, they don't even seem to be linked, from going from a pastry chef to a personal trainer and 300 pounds to, like, it's crazy the difference in, you know, from a personal trainer to a healer to an energy healer and a coach. And I know it's just interesting to me how it's all changed. And I still don't know what I'm doing. Christy Renee, I am still like, okay, what are we doing? And the awareness it's just like, it's fine. You are fine.
So can you tell if when you decide on a change, what is what would you say is the most important thing to make a change a reality?
First of all, that you know, I think that's one thing I've always had, is I knew there wasn't even, I couldn't stop it if I wanted to stop it. So when I became a pastry chef, I went to school for food, for cooking, at one of the highest level schools you can go to in America. Graduated with honors, you know, did the whole rigmarole, married another chef. We're still married today. And in doing all of that, made myself super sick, gained a ton of weight, and then had to heal that. So my healer, I've been all kinds of, right? We all have in past lives, you've been all kinds of stuff. I've been a healer, I've been a mystic, I've been like all kinds of different things that came into this life with me. And I knew, make yourself sick, heal yourself. And so that's what I did. In switching from a pastry chef at 300 pounds to a personal trainer at the top of the game in America at a place called 24-Hour Fitness, I was their top trainer for the 2 years that I trained with them, I think over 8 months. I was their #1 internationally, right? Crazy. Like, and people were telling me before I did it, you'll never make it. You'll never pass the test, right?
Actually, it's not crazy.
Well, no, so listen, it is on a physical level, because I didn't know any of this stuff then.
It's not normal, but it's not crazy.
It's not normal. But how I knew is my spirit came through and said, here's how you're going to do it. And I was doing all this stuff, and it's very, if I told you the whole story, it's very metaphysical. It's very crazy, to say the least. How I passed the test was not typical. I didn't cheat, but I certainly didn't study for it. And I just knew. I knew that information. It was not a big deal. It was interesting. I don't have a good word for it. Crazy, interesting. But I knew, and that's how I changed. And then I did the work that it takes, right? You have to do physical work here, the do part of everything. And spirit sets you into motion. And if you're in the flow you're supposed to be in, it's easy. It's not hard. You have to do this. I had to have the certifications. I had to have the stuff that everybody else had to have, but it just landed in my lap. And in doing that, I was actually able to get other people certifications that they couldn't qualify for, just because I was so in my place. I was so in my, in tune with it all, that I was just pulling people along with me.
Can I call it that you decided on a new role and embrace it so fully that you transform into it very quickly?
But it wasn't a decision I made consciously. It just happened. You're this, and now you're this. And it's like, whoa, how did I get here? But there was all these working pieces in the middle. And I guess it's a decision. I don't know that I would have called it that back then. It was just like things showed up and I went and did whatever showed up. here's this piece. Okay, let's go do this piece. Okay, let's do this piece. Okay, and it just kept rolling and rolling until I got to the end of that stream of energy, and then it all just went. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? And then the gears shifted. And then mind rewire happened. And it was kind of the same idea. There was stuff going along that led me into it, but it was, you knew that you knew. That's how you know when the change is gonna, you're not arguing with yourself, you're not afraid of it, you're not all the typical words we would assign to having a big change in your life. How is it going to happen? I never questioned how it was going to happen. It just kept happening. Does that answer your question? Is that even helpful?
Yes, yes. But when you said that you are best in your field in multiple occasions and that it's not normal, actually, especially with people who are well, spiritually oriented, it's not that uncommon. I remember the Russian mystic Gurdjieff, for example. He changed professions constantly and he was excellent in any of them. His opinion was that people don't use their capacities at all. And that's why a person who knows how to use his capacities will develop his skills much faster than the average person.
And here's what I would say to you on that. Well, that is true. I didn't know any of this back then. I was not a spiritual person. I was still fighting my way out of religion. I didn't know any of this stuff, but as it showed up, I got so into the role of just relaxing into whatever showed up next. It just became a natural function to like, okay, whatever shows up next. Even if it was a person who walked up to me, and this literally happened more times than once, and I'm like doing squats at a squat rack, and some guy walks up and puts his leg up on the squat rack, and I'm just usually looking at him going, what? And he's like, oh, my knee hurts. Can you help do something? And I'm like, are you being serious? And I would just put my hands around his knee, the pain would stop, and off he would never even see him again. I'm like, what is that? Over and over. But if I just went with it, it seemed like it was an easier. And then all of a sudden I started understanding the spiritual nature and all these other things started coming into view. But I don't think you have to have one to. I had no knowledge of it at that point.
Well, I don't think that knowledge is the main thing. I mean, even, well, we can call something spiritual, and many people who call themselves mystics and spiritual people and all that aren't necessarily as such. While someone who can be even a dogmatic religious person can actually be highly spiritual. As Zen masters used to say, one can get enlightened doing anything, even just by ringing the bell, if one is truly in the thing he does. No?
Yeah. I got no answer. I think it just is. I think you're right. It just is. Yeah. Let's see who's got down here. Interesting. Good question to ask yourself. What has been brought into you to engage on for most of your life? I'm not sure what you mean by that. What has been brought into you to engage on?
Like, what common thread? Like, can you look back, you know, if you're looking back at your life and going like, what, you know, what common threads do you see that, and again, it could be that that's a program, not saying it's not, but I'm just saying, you know, look at what, you know, and then maybe look even deeper than that. Once you find that thing or those things, then look underneath those.
And I would say that's all the program, and I quit doing all of that stuff. And I quit looking at any of that because it's all, it takes you back in, right? What I think, and if I had to think of it the way I think you're trying to explain it, what brought you to engage on is things that I mastered in past lives. And that mastery followed me into this life, even though I didn't know that's what it was at the time.
Ah,
And now I'm starting to recognize it. I'm starting to finally wake up enough from the internal depths of the sleep that I was put under, that I can actually see it and be like, oh, okay, I gotcha.
gotcha.
Does that make any sense? Because if I go back and engage with any, it's back in my past, or I'm trying to engage it from right by creating my future.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess maybe to what Philip is saying or asking, like, because I'm in the same spot, like twice now I've been pulled out of engineering. And so the more I said, you know what, and I've just stood back and keep watching it. And certainly maybe last year or something, I got the message that was just like, you know, I am not an engineer. That's just something, but you know, the thought, there was a story behind it as to, you know, even before I was born, they told me this and that, you know, and I believed all of that. And there you go. And then, so I became an engineer, and I'm an extremely good engineer. But then Spirit was showing me, says, but all these attributes that make you a good engineer have nothing to do with engineering. I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly right. It doesn't have any, I could put those things into anything. And then I just had to just sit there and go, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm at a place where at the moment where I'm having to engage on some of that at some level because, you know, the mortgage keeps rolling in, the bills keep rolling in. So you got to do something.
Well, that's what I was just saying, is you have to do, you'll find it, right? So everything that shows up, if you go stand on it, it's kind of the old idea of like wherever you're standing and you look in a circle around you, there's 360 degrees, right? Any one of those degrees could be a path. So you choose your path and you step out on it. And then from that place, it opens up again. And you've got 360 degrees of choices to make. Any one of those things could be a path. That's the doing that's going to get you. And Spirit's going to keep bringing you stuff, and you go stand on it. And then all these choices open up, and you make a decision, and you move and you move, and you keep going, and it keeps opening and opening. I literally think that's how I went from being a mother to a pastry chef to a personal trainer to a healer to a, like, whatever's next. I have no idea. I'm looking at actually being an attorney in fact right now, which seems really ludicrous and crazy to me, but right, the steps keep showing up, and if I keep standing on them, and Spirit follows, so the attributes follow you into anything that you choose to do.
Right.
And that's the doing that's required to pay the mortgage because of this
right.
idiotic world. I don't know if I should say that or not, that we live in.
No, that's fine. I agree. It's, yeah. And
It's
you're right. That's what I'm doing. I'm just like, but I guess maybe what's different for me now is, for the first time in my life, I'm continuing just to stand back and not do it from my mind or my thoughts or, well, I think this, or like, no, I said, let me just stand back and see what blossoms out from this space that I'm in. And then and so I'm doing it from there. And it takes, or I'll just say it's taking a lot of courage, but I'm being supported. I find that I'm being supported all the way along. Like, things keep showing up and I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm not pushing it. I'm not forcing it. It's so much easier.
Yes. That.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I say something here, please?
Yes.
What Susan just said was great. That's really great. And I feel also the same. And I want to go back to the knowing, Yeah. See, I know what my mission is. And I know that I'm going to get there. Well, I am there. And it's not to put in words, it's just following this knowing. And it's going to happen. I don't even have to think about it. And this is recently, because I've had a catalyst for this knowing recently. Because my program when I was younger is, you keep small. Don't let whatever thoughts you have are not important. And I've always been feeling very guilty if like to speak up or to show myself. Because my program, I mean, I was beaten to a pulp physically, mentally, and emotionally every time I opened my mouth. Yeah.
I love you dearly, and therefore I'm going to stop you, because by repeating the story, you're going to cause the same reaction.
No. I'm not, because I know where I'm going, and this knowing is beautiful. And I'm free of the past, and I'm free of these programs, and I feel it, and it's wonderful.
Good.
So, I mean,
tell me that story instead of the old story.
Well, this is the story. This is the new story. I mean, it's not even a story. It's just a knowing, you see, and I know what my mission is. And I am free to walk that path.
Absolutely.
I'm not really explaining it how I wanted to explain it a few minutes ago, but it's a freedom that I've never known.
Yeah.
And it's in this space, because when we started with this energy, you know, and you told me to, because I said, oh, you know, you can put it in your physical body, and he said, no, just let it be. So I let it be, and what it was doing, it was feeding the chakra that needed to be fed, without me even saying anything, you know, without me even wanting it, without me trying to make this energy into something, like to create something that I wanted to create. I didn't have to do that, because the energy knew exactly where to go, and it is feeding me on the level that I needed to be fed, which is wonderful.
Yes, that's amazing.
So, I mean, I know my mission.
I don't know that you do. I'm positive you know your mission.
No, I do know. I really feel this. And normally I would just like shut up and not say anything now, but I really, really feel this. And it's such a deep knowing that I don't have to think about where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do, because it will just happen.
Yeah. And the part where you have to do something is something will just happen, and then you have to, I always say you have to stand on it. I don't know how else to word it. You have to step on whatever just happens and stand there and let the energy expand again, and then you get all these other different things that you can do. And it will just
happen. It will just happen, and it will guide me.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what that is.
And it's no fear. I don't have fear at all.
Nope.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the difference real quick, and anybody else, maybe this will help somebody else too. When you go back into telling your old stories, right, into the past, you are literally dragging your physical system back through and creating what they told us, right? They call them neural information. And the loops of neuroplasticity in your head are linked to that, right? The subconscious, the idea of the subconscious is linked to that past. And so when you get, and especially when you start driving the emotion into it, which you started going into, which is why I was like, whoa, put some brakes onto that one, because it'll literally stall out your process. In the field around you, the energetic field, when you're putting opposing energies into the system at the same time, I know what I'm doing. I know I've got this whole, right? The beautiful thing that you're like knowing that's going to be there and it's already being created will get blocked by the repeating of the stuff from the past, especially in a state of high energy or a high emotion that you start speaking about it with. which is why and you can ask any of the other people that are in here that have been with me for a while, I will stop you in a heartbeat and be like, in the now moment, right? You were going a direction with, this is the thing. And you could feel it. You could feel your excitement and energy to it. And then that spinning out occurred, and all that, you can just feel the, right? The car starts swerving sideways kind of idea. And it's that place you have to stay right here, right now, and just tell me about what's the thing that you're creating, because that energy is going to start a loop, right? And even in here, you can create neuroplastic to that thing that you're doing so that the machine does it automatically. You program the machine instead of your past holding any kind of program over it.
I do understand that, but nevertheless, I don't feel that what I said was creating that.
I hope not. That's good.
No, I know it wasn't.
Good.
I know this is, this is a knowing.
Good.
And it was only a bit of background. The difference from then, from the old to what I am now, you know. And I understand this neuroplasticity. I do understand this, but I really am in that knowing. So even if I am reflecting on the past, it's not affecting me now.
Good.
I know it.
Good. And maybe it was just a message for somebody else in here that needed to hear it. I don't know, but I always I'm really careful with that kind of stuff because we don't want
I
it
understand.
to spin out.
I understand. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't want it to spin out. Absolutely.
No. Okay, thank you.
And take a deep breath. Everybody return to your awareness. Wherever you've gone, if you're still there, pat yourself on the back. Putting your awareness back on your awareness, recognizing that is the part of you that you are right now. I can only assume that this is going to keep growing and changing. So I hate to say it's the real you, or it's just another part of you that we have discovered. Take a deep breath. And it is 4:35, so I am going to say good night because I have to go do some gardening and some stuff out back with the chickens. So hopefully this was helpful. It was certainly helped me. It was nice just sitting here with you all.
Thank you, Christy. It was a wonderful experience. A pleasure, as always.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to next meeting.
Yes, and yes. Thank you.
Thank
all.
you very much.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome, Jane. You're so welcome. All right, we'll see you all next week.
Goodbye all.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.